Hi, everybody. It's Jay, and I am back in the booth with you for another sneak peek video preview for this week's new release here on Say with Jay. This week, our new release is Tangled Up in Tinsel. It's book number 2 in Jessie Gussman's Christmas Tree, Pennsylvania sweet romantic comedy novella series. And I've got more about the story and a live preview for you in just a moment. But first, a few weeks ago, when I did the preview for the first book in this series, Trapped Under the Christmas Tree, we didn't have a segment of Cooking with Jay. And I didn't really explain why. I did touch on the fact that we were doing these novellas at all because of a schedule change that Jessie had with publishing one of her regular novels. And in those novels, as you're probably familiar with, she usually includes a dish that I can make in these segments of Cooking with Jay. We didn't do that with the novellas, so for the last one, there wasn't really a recipe for me to make. And there really isn't this time either. But that kind of gave me the chance to share with you guys a family recipe that's been a favorite of ours for a long time. Or, well, me specifically. My siblings aren't that nuts about it. But it's pineapple lime congealed salad. I don't think it's a uniquely Southern thing. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's just something that we've always liked. Again, I've always liked. And this preview is a chance for me to make it for you guys here in another segment we like to call Cooking with Jay. Cooking with Jay. Now, before we get started, as always, don't worry about trying to capture the ingredients and the directions in real time. They'll be listed in the description of this video down below. All right, let's get started. First, let's take a look at our ingredients. It's a fairly short list. You need 1 can of crushed pineapple in juice, not syrup, and you want to reserve all of that juice. You're going to need 1 large or 2 small boxes of lime jello. I've always made it with the regular jello. I don't know if sugar-free would work. Feel free to try that out, and if you do, let me know how it goes. You're going to need some water, which not shown here. I think we all know what that looks like. You're going to need 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, softened to room temperature. You're going to need a 4-ounce jar of diced pimentos, 1 8-ounce container of Cool Whip, and you're going to need roughly 3/4 of a cup of chopped pecans. Now, feel free to raise or lower that depending on how much you like pecans. I actually like them a lot, so I tend to go a little bit more. You can also use chopped walnuts if you like. Now, step 1 is going to be to take your chopped nuts, spread them out on a piece of parchment paper on a baking sheet, and you're going to want to toast these lightly and then allow them to cool completely. Next, drain your pineapple and reserve that juice. I was able to actually get nearly 1.5 cups of liquid just from the can of pineapple, so I only needed to add a very little bit of water to it to make 1.5 cups. Next, in a bowl, dissolve your jello mix in boiling water as indicated on the package. For me, I'm using a large pack, so that calls for 2 cups of boiling water. And stir that until it's dissolved completely. Next, you're going to want to add your pineapple juice and water mixture. Stir that in, and then put it in the fridge to cool and to firm up. You're going to want to let it become almost firm. For me, that was about an hour, but you don't want it to fully gel yet. After it does start to firm up, pull it out of the fridge and add to that your block of cream cheese. I found it easier to cut up the cream cheese into cubes because your next step is going to be to take either a hand mixer or blender and blend it up. When you've got little bits of cream cheese, that's actually what you're after. Once you've got that to your liking, put that back into the fridge to firm up some again. This shouldn't take quite as long as the first step. After 20 or 30 minutes, after it becomes firm-ish again, you're going to pull it back out, stir in your drained pineapple, your drained pimentos, your cooled chopped pecans, and then your 8 ounces of Cool Whip. Stir that together well and get it mixed up thoroughly. This is what it should look like when you're done. From here, you want to pour it into whatever kind of serving dish you'd like. I'm using a 9x13 baking dish. You can put it into a bundt cake pan or jello mold, whatever you like. But get it into your dish and smooth it out, and then back into the fridge until it fully congeals. And here you go. This is what it looks like. All that's left is to cut you a piece and serve it up. It's not my best presentation. I guess you could add some more Cool Whip if you've got it, but as good as this is, I don't really care because as soon as this camera shut off, this piece didn't last very long. There you go. It is easy. It is delicious. I do hope you guys will give it a try, and if you do, please let me know how it goes down in the comments. All right, let's talk a little bit about Tangled Up in Tinsel. Tangled Up in Tinsel is the story of Amber Rogers. Amber is an interior decorator there in Christmas Tree, Pennsylvania, and she specializes in, not surprisingly, Christmas decor. She's called to do some emergency decorating by billionaire Samuel Barrage at the Barrage Mansion there in Christmas Tree. I say emergency decorating because the previous decorator, who was helping to decorate for a very important Christmas ball taking place the next night, has had to undergo some emergency surgery. Of course, Amber says yes, it's a great opportunity to grow her business and have some high-profile visibility and that kind of thing. But she doesn't quite know what she's getting into. It's also the story of Daniel Barrage, the brother of billionaire Samuel. Daniel lives at the mansion, and he works for his brother. Now, Daniel is aware that the designer who had to undergo surgery also replaced a designer from the year before who left in a bit of a huff, let's say, and that actually becomes rather important, as you'll see. He decides to help this new designer because he understands the mammoth task in front of her. But even he doesn't realize quite how complicated it's going to get. Now, can he help her untangle all the tinsel and possibly untangle her heart as well? Well, you're going to have to come back this Friday to find out. But for now, here is a preview of Tangled Up in Tinsel. I hope you enjoy it, and then come back this Friday for the full release here on Say with Jay. I watched the new interior designer get out of her car and walk up to the mansion from my second-story bedroom window. My brother, Samuel, can be a difficult boss. He's a great guy. I might be biased because I'm his brother, and I also work for him, but I think he's awesome. But he didn't get to be a billionaire by being nice to people. Although he's very generous with his time and money, and he's funny and a great boss for the most part. But he doesn't accept excuses, not for himself and not from the people who work with him either. This interior designer seems so sure of herself, so innocently naive. I'm probably Samuel's exact opposite, too easygoing and fun-loving for my own good. Not that I'm a party animal, because I'm not. I definitely know how to work hard. But I like to think I'm more in touch with my compassionate human side than Samuel is. And that interior designer has her work cut out for her. Sheila, our designer this year, who took over from Richard, who quit in a huff last year, had the unfortunate luck of needing emergency gallbladder surgery before the decorations were complete. I heard she went through the surgery well, and I know for a fact that Samuel sent her a huge bouquet of flowers. I also know for a fact that there were at least 11 other interior designers who had been called and asked to complete the project, and none of them were able to do it on such short notice. Most of them didn't like the idea of stepping into someone else's design either. Finally, I told Rosie, the receptionist that works here out of my mansion and Christmas tree, that she needed to stop telling people that they were going to be taking over someone else's design, to play down the fact that Samuel was a difficult boss, and to offer them as much money as it took. The decorations have to be perfect. After all, Mom will be there at tomorrow's gala. If there's anyone who can intimidate my brother, it's Mom. I turn from the window, and my eyes land on the small desk I have in my room. It has the instructions that Sheila left for the new designer, guessing, I'm sure, that the new designer would take one look at the immensity of this mansion and the amount of decorations and need some type of guidelines to go by. The pressure is on, because the ballroom still needs to be decorated. The miles and miles of tinsel that Richard, the designer last year, put up was the talk of the party. Everyone raved over it, and Samuel wants it redone exactly the same way this year. It's a little bit difficult because Richard got angry after the party and stormed out of the mansion and out of his job last year. I'm not sure what all the details are, but he barely got everything taken down and put away before he raged out the door, smoke flying from both ears, and I'm pretty sure he was waving one finger behind him. I think that he might have been having some kind of tryst with the housekeeper's daughter, and when Mrs. Merriweather found out, there was a bit of an explosion. Anyway, my job here is mostly to keep people from having those types of things. I grease the wheels, so to speak, between other people and my brother. Sometimes he even calls me in to help with business negotiations, just because I'm a peacekeeper. I'm good at being friends with everyone, and I never get upset. I grabbed the instructions off my desk, which Sheila had had her daughter run over before she went to the hospital, and move out to the immense hall and down the stairs. Sometimes this house can be a real pain in the butt, because it's so easy to lose people in it. I'm going to assume that Mrs. Merriweather took the new designer directly to the room that holds the decorations. That's where I go first, but I didn't time it quite right, and she's no longer there. I text Mrs. Merriweather. Where is the new designer? I left her in the decoration room. Do you have any idea where she might have gone from there? I think she might have been going to look over the house to see what needed to be finished. The only thing that needs to be done is the ballroom. I didn't tell her that. I stare at my phone. Why wouldn't she have told her? Another text comes in. You told Rosie to not tell the new designer that she was going to be jumping into someone else's design. That's fine. I'll handle it. I see. My instructions from yesterday were taken a little bit too literally. I didn't mean she could never find out. Obviously, when she walked into the mansion and there were already decorations up, she was going to start to wonder. But regardless, this is something I can handle. I shove my phone back in my pocket, set the instructions down on the table, and go in search of our newest employee. Hi, this is Jay, and thanks for listening. If you're ready for another great Jessie Gussman audiobook, here's one we think you might like. Or check out our latest releases. Don't forget to subscribe to Say with Jay, give this video a thumbs up, and tell us what you liked in the comments.